Ready?
Yeah.
Damn, are you gonna do the intro
I'm
with me?
always ready.
Oh no. Oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the first time you've never had your other co-host.
Yeah.
on.
Should you want to do it?
Yeah. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Don't get nervous, gentlemen. It's okay.
This is the first.
Well, it's because I'm a guest
Yeah.
host, and then you're the guest.
What's my
But-
name?
I know. I'm like, wait, what?
Shit.
What was your name again? Oh, guys.
Austin.
What's up, guys? My name is Mario.
I'm Andy.
Welcome back to Huevos
First time.
podcast, guys. We have something a little different today, as you can see.
We got a white guy.
That's. Oh my God. Is he the first white guy in your podcast?
Say yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm invading the Hispanic
Yes.
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
There you go.
Breaking barriers. That's what we're doing right now.
Racism ended today.
Racist. But guys, there's something a little different today's podcast. As you can tell, my normal co-hosts are not here today. Comadre Bao is upstairs working. Jesus is probably in Mexicali with his girlfriend, and Raul has 10 kids. So he
does.
cannot be here. But today with us today, we have a repeat offender. We have Andy Canchola in the building.
Hello, everybody.
Straight from
Thank you.
Arizona. But
Yes.
nobody cares about him.
The heat.
The only person we really care about right now is our guest to the right.
Thank you. That's very sweet. That's very sweet.
We have Austen Alexander in the building, my man. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course.
Short drive right down the road.
Honestly, yeah. Why are you showing me? I know who he looks like, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's a little smaller than that, but
It's average. It's average. It's all about the works. It's how you use it. Right? I mean, you can be average when you look like him. So honestly, you just, It's even fit through the
Well, dude,
door.
I feel short when I stand next to both of you.
That's why this is a sit-down podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they wouldn't let me stand up.
Yeah. No.
Well, he wants to walk around the whole the whole building.
Like to assert dominance.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
I felt
got it.
that. He peed on my front door.
Yeah.
Right as he walked in.
As soon as he walked in, he was just marking his territory from the way down, from the van all the way over here.
I'm like,
I
damn,
was a little
Austin.
scared, to be honest. That's why I locked up my dog. I thought he was an eater.
Well, he's like, assert your dominance, do 10 pull-ups. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Well, this is your house now.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, but it's straying away from the jokes.
Yeah,
Austin, thank you so much for being here, my man.
Of course.
I'll
try to be serious.
No, it's cool. You don't have to be serious, but you can be serious. You can do whatever you want in this podcast.
Whatever I want?
Whatever you want. Yeah,
whatever you
you can do. You can do this naked if you want to. Honestly,
Say less.
for the for the
For the clip?
clicks for the clicks, please. But it's an honor to have you here. I've been following your story for, I mean, not too long, but I've been happy. You know what? When Andy told me that he wanted to bring you on, I remember seeing the pull-up van. I remember randomly seeing those videos, and it just brought back all these memories of me endlessly scrolling when I was younger, wishing I could do 10 pull-ups. I can do half of one right now, but I'm
That's
getting
good.
there.
That's progress.
Yeah. I'm also down like a few 100 pounds. So
Really?
yeah, I'll
Like
show you
actual-
pictures later. I was
Congrats.
pushing like 400 pounds during COVID.
Wow.
Right now I'm at like 290.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Well, we did a weight loss
it's a
competition at
huge
the beginning of
relief.
the year.
Yeah, he
Really?
won actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost?
I lost 53 pounds
Congrats.
in 3 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
How'd you do that?
Fucking lot of
Cocaine,
running.
Illegal substances?
Yeah,
There's a lot of cocaine
No,
involved.
dude, it was just a lot of running.
Yeah.
Like the thing I hate the most, I had to
But
do
what
it.
gave you
running.
the energy to run?
Money.
There was a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, there was
How
money.
much? $1,000?
900.
Yeah,
'cause
about 900. Yeah.
It was 150, and it was 7 of us.
Yeah.
7. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I mean, that inspired me to go to the park every day and go run and eat healthy. So it was nice.
Good.
Yeah. But Austin, I know you really don't like this question, but for the people who don't know who you are, I know you have an array of things on your resume. I think the podcast will be about you and your resume, but I think if we just list off the things that you've been doing, we'll probably be here for a solid 20 minutes just getting to know every single little detail. But in brief, do you want to give the people a little breakdown of?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You're right. I do hate this question because I don't really know what to call
It's
myself.
like putting you on the spot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to being put on the spot, but I hate for it to come from a place that it's like bragging.
Yeah.
I've tried a lot of things. I've tried to probably 10 plus businesses, and some of them work and some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
I started in I tell people that my life really started at 25, and that's when I took a look at myself. I'm like, I'm not who I want to be, and this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I started reading. I started educating myself. I started picking up new hobbies and new skills in the digital marketing world. And in 2018, I was in a lot of debt, credit card debt. I was like $20K in debt. And
You said that so nonchalant. That's
well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, back
I was like,
then,
goddamn.
back then, I'm like, fuck, I'm drowning, and every day, like when I realized that I wasn't able to pay it down with the income that I was making, I was like, this is not fun. And that's when I started teaching myself things. I started reading books. I started listening to Russell Brunson, started teaching myself different softwares. And then I started several businesses, The Business Gentleman. I started architecture. I mean, drop shipping, e-commerce, stock option trading, Amazon FBA. Like I had all these legitimate businesses. I sold, fitness gear on Amazon, sold like posture correctors on Amazon. And I wasn't really passionate about any of it. And that caused me to not be consistent with it, because I was like, I would try for 2 or 3 months. And if you're really not passionate about something, it sucks to do it every day. So what I really was passionate about, I started in 2018, it was YouTube. I started posting the videos and learning how to edit and learning how to film. And I produced a show in high school called Current Events. And I just loved the feeling when someone was watching my production and they would either laugh or cry, or, it would evoke an emotion in them. And it was the best feeling ever. Yeah. So when I started making videos and publishing on YouTube, I would hear in the comments the feedback, dude, I love this video so much. Like, I'm in the Navy as well. I love watching your content. Thank you so much. And looking forward to the next video. It inspired me and it made me more passionate about it. And that's where I really got a good start is on YouTube.
That's sick.
And it wasn't like I just started posting videos and it blew up. I posted 40 videos without even getting a dime from it. And I was shooting every single one myself and editing every single one myself. So if you say 4 hours to shoot and 4 hours to edit, that's 8 hours times 40. That's 320 something hours. Actually, is my math right? Yeah, like 320 hours that I worked without even getting a dime from it.
Yeah.
And that was like way before, like now, like Adobe Premiere has like AI plugins.
Yeah.
that helps you tremendously.
Yes.
So that was a lot of lining up, making sure the mouth is correct with the audio. Yeah.
Well, did you have all that like at the beginning? So was it just you and the camera? Was it you and the phone?
It was me and a cheap laptop and a cheap camera, Canon T5i. And I just taught myself how to edit. I looked at YouTube tutorials. I'd never taken in a course. Like I dropped out of college. I don't have any degrees or any official credentials.
Okay, me too.
But I just learned from the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, YouTube University, man. I feel like it's helped all of us. Like, but that's cool, bro. Did you have a mic on that camera, or was it just the camera mic?
No, it was a camera mic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd even film on an iPad.
Oh, okay.
With no mic.
That's
just
crazy.
turn on the video and just start rolling.
Yeah, well, I've said it before, like on our pod. Like now we have the cameras. Now we have a lot more things that just make the editing process so much more seamless. But before it was just all iPhone footage, and like then I had to plug everything into. I have my cheap laptop because I've had that thing for like 12 years on iMovie, and then I would download the audio from the Zoom, and then I would download everything back onto iMovie, and then make sure everything is lined up. And then picking out the clips, it would take forever because my laptop has like 4 gigabytes of memory. So that thing would lag. It would take me like 5 hours to make one 30-second clip.
It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah. But before we deep dive more into your career right now, I want to take it back a little bit, take a few steps back. You're from Nashville, correct?
Alabama.
Okay, I was like,
Nashville's like 2 hours from my hometown.
Okay.
So.
I heard you talking about a lot about Nashville, like on some of your other podcasts. I was like, is it for Nashville? But I did hear something. I was talking to your girl earlier, and you said something in one of the podcasts that your graduating class was like 90 people.
Yep.
Oh, damn.
And I was like, dude, 90 people for me is like one classroom. That is crazy.
90 people. I think 500 or 600 in total in the whole high school.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Yuma, and my graduating class at the time was like 600.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
That's
crazy.
huge.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew every single person I graduated with.
Do you still keep in contact with a lot of people?
Maybe like 4 or 5 people. I have a really close friend group back home, and we still talk almost every single day.
That's crazy.
That's
That's really
badass.
nice. It's really nice because you don't really see that nowadays. I think you and I are actually the same age. I graduated
Really?
in 2010.
Okay. Yeah.
And I heard
32?
that, yeah.
You 31 or 32?
32. I don't even know anymore. I lie. COVID took those 2 years away from. Technically, I'm still 30. But growing up down in Alabama, how was that for you? I mean,
it's definitely different than here.
Yeah.
It was very small and closed in. Like if you had goals or aspirations, people would just laugh at you.
Really?
You know, keep me shut in for a long time. I was an introvert growing up. The first 19 years of my life, I was very introverted. And then when I started getting into fitness, I started kind of veering away from my friend group because they're like, why do you want to go to the gym? And why do you want to run? Like, why do you want to work out? It didn't make sense. My brother and I started working out together a little bit, and that's pretty much the only person I had in my life that would work out with me.
Is your brother older or younger?
He's older. He's 15 months older.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry.
But
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it was just farmland and just good old fashioned people, I guess. I mean, it's completely different.
Were you raised in the way that like, all right, come home when the lights turn on? Like, were you outside a lot?
I
or
was
were
outside.
You, yeah.
Every single day I was outside. I would have mud clawed battles with my brother. My dad had a 7-acre farm. We would always farm every single summertime. And a lot of my entrepreneurship sprung from growing up. My dad would change people's oils in the front yard for $15, and he'd be like, hey, if you want to change oil, I'll give you half of it. And I'm like, bet. You know, I was 13, 14 making $7 a pop. Like, if you have $7 at 13 years old, you're rich
Yeah.
in Alabama. And
that's when cars were a lot easier to work on.
yeah. Now you can't. Now
I can't even touch my Jeep now without it going the electrical, anything electrical going crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to change oil here too because there's no way to dump it. In Alabama, we just dump it in the yard, which is illegal.
Hey, I was like, you're not supposed to do that.
Technically, it's illegal.
Yeah.
If you don't get caught, you know,
Nothing's illegal.
Nothing's illegal. What did you guys have on your family farm?
Watermelons, tomatoes, eggplants. My dad loved peppers.
Yeah.
Cucumbers. Just
Animals too, or was it just mostly?
no,
like
no.
food?
Just. I mean, it was very recreational. It was never for like a job or anything. My dad just loved to stay busy, and he's kind of entrepreneurial as well. So, cantaloupes.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Potatoes.
Is your dad still with us today? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He doesn't garden anymore.
I was gonna ask you if he still gardens. Yeah.
He has a bad hip.
Oh, okay.
But I think he stopped gardening probably 5-6 years ago. But I learned a lot about different types of cantaloupes, watermelons, jubilees.
You learned patience. That's what you learned.
Charleston Grays. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to everything, right? With this entrepreneurship, and then now that's badass.
I just love the feeling. I remember we would wake up on a Saturday, and I hated being out in the garden because it was hot, it was sweaty. There's really bad sweat bees that would sting you.
Oh.
And we would harvest watermelons. And then when we got them in the truck and we started riding around, we would ride in the back of the truck and we would stop by stores and stop by people's houses and, hey, we have watermelons for $3 or $4 a piece. Big ones are $4, small ones are $3. And then we see the money coming in. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, we're actually producing something and making money from it. And it was a great feeling. My dad would give me like $5 or $6 for the whole, 10-hour work day.
Yeah.
And it was,
But it was
great.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a great feeling.
Yeah. It's not like now. It's like that instant gratification. It's like you just want the money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you mentioned something that was like that you didn't see like income through YouTube until you started posting whatever, like you're on your 40th video, for example, right? So you started seeing that residual or that income from YouTube after that hard work. But now people just want to post one video and expect it to go viral, and you expect all these big bucks. I actually saw a TikTok not so long ago where it was a voiceover, but it was like a funny voiceover, and it was like, my TikTok, one of my videos got 1.4 million views. And then someone else answered, but did it change your life? And then someone else answered, is like, no, it stayed exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they were just super sad about it. But it's just that instant gratification now that I just feel like, I mean, I love creating content. I love podcasting. I love talking to people. But there's people who are just out there just to do it for the money. And it's just like, you can tell.
Oh, for sure. I see it all the time. Like, people will hit me up and be like, hey, man, I have an idea for a YouTube channel. Do you think that? I'm like, yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
They're like, what are your top recommendations? I'm like, before I give you any recommendations, post 50 videos.
Yeah.
Because that shows, that you can be consistent with it. People post 1 or 2 videos and they stop.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's hard. I mean, the content creating itself. I mean, Andy's been doing it for longer than at least content creating it longer than I have. Podcasting, I've been doing it for a while, but it's hard to be like week after week and then posting out the reels and then pumping them out super quick, talking to guests, making sure you vibe with them too. Like, because also, I don't want to invite somebody on and like I don't really like them or like,
That sucks. I film videos with people that I don't like.
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
Yeah. And it just feels like you're pulling teeth. I've said it before. It's like I've had podcasts where specifically sometimes when like I want to invite people from San Diego and it's like maybe they're not used to the long form content or they're not used to the interview style, and they're used to that short form and just voiceovers that when you get them on the pod it's like they're just super introverted and quiet, and you're
dead.
like and you're like just pulling teeth and you're like I'm running out of questions and like, you're not even paying attention to the conversation anymore because I'm just on squirrel mode. It's like what else can I ask you?
Yeah.
Can I get a reaction out of you? I'm about to punch you. It's like I'm gonna do something.
Has that happened? Because I know, like for me, when I've done videos and like friends have been like, "Hey, can I be in a video?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure," but I don't think they realize how much work goes into it and how long it's gonna take. Like maybe a 4-minute skit takes like 8 hours, hypothetically. Has that happened to you when someone's like, "Hey, I want to be in a video," but they don't realize how long it actually takes? Or how long do your videos take? Because I know they're working out.
If people say like, "Hey, I want to be in a video," like it's usually like they're not a good fit. You know, we don't just let people come on just because they want to be in a YouTube video. Like they have to have like certain, now like with my producer Ivan, we vet people like, do they have a personality? Can they speak on camera? Just because they're a creator themselves doesn't mean that they can be confident in front of a camera with a microphone on them and with 6 people filming them. Yeah. You know, so it's happened multiple times. Like we brought out this Chinese boxer and the video title was like Chinese boxer versus U.S. Marine or something like that. And the boxer was just not it. He couldn't speak on, of course he spoke English, you know, perfect English, but he just could not.
Some people just freeze. Yeah.
He couldn't function.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like that here too. And it's funny. I used to freeze when I first started the podcast. And my first 3 episodes, like I was actually getting really stupidly drunk on the pod because I would get camera shy. And it was really dumb now that I think back on it. Like it kind of gives me like cringe when I think on it because it's like I was just here in my living room recording myself with my fiance and one of my best friends. It's like there was no one to be shy.
Why are you getting drunk?
Why am I getting drunk, first of all? And then why am I shy around people who I've been open with for like years? But I can see that. I can see definitely people who like that's why I was saying about like the short form content, whereas like they're used to a certain type of thing, but it's different when there's cameras consistently rolling. Yeah. Or not maybe that you don't have to play a character, but your character kind of has to enhance a little bit more. Yeah.
So
for sure.
For your first videos, where were they? They weren't like working out videos, were they?
My first video I posted was we went to an all-you-can-eat meat buffet in a place called Bahrain in the Middle East. And I was like, I'm just going to vlog this and see how it goes. And I just vlogged it and threw some music behind it and posted it and really nothing happened. And then I created a video on deployment called Day in the Life of a Navy Sailor. And I just focused on storyline. Like, I think I'm a good storyteller. Sometimes it gets faded with the editing and all this stuff, but it was all me, like all my creative. There's nobody else there to tell me like, hey, you should do it like this and do it like that. And I posted that video and it performed pretty well. And the rest were kind of like vlog style. The next probably 15, 20 videos were me just sitting in my office with just a camera or an iPad, and
it's kind of like a personal podcast, like you just by yourself.
Kind of, sort of. It was like best jobs in the Navy. I'm like, hey, welcome to the channel. My name's Austen Alexander. Today I'm going to show you the best 3 jobs in the Navy and why I think they're the best jobs in the Navy. And then I would just talk about it and then edit some simple clips and videos in there, and then it would be done.
Damn. And then when did you transition, or when did you start noticing, like, especially like obstacle courses or like U.S. Marines versus this? Or
first video that I had that really blew up it's called Military Pay. And I was just breaking down my whole check. Like, hey, this is how much I make. I make $3,500 in the Navy, and I make $3,000 worth of, housing allowance. And I was like being really detailed and really just transparent about everything. And that video it lifted the channel a little bit, but the video that really changed the trajectory of the whole channel was titled Miss Bikini Olympia Attempts the Navy Physical Readiness Test. One of my friends, Ashley Kaltwasser, I had met her at a bodybuilding show. I said, hey, do you want to be in a YouTube video? Like, try the Navy Physical Readiness Test. It's a very easy test. It's push-ups, sit-ups, in a run. And we produced it. One camera setup. It was me, no microphones, just me and her. And I was facilitating her through the physical readiness test, and posted it. It performed normal for like 2 weeks or so. And then I woke up one morning and like Business Insider, Men's Health, Muscle and Fitness, Women's Health.
Oh, damn.
They had all like, hey, we love this video. We want to share it. We want to write a blog about it, all this stuff. And it had blown up on YouTube. and I was checking my notifications, and people were like, I love this video. Like on YouTube, you've seen the YouTube analytics, and this is a business podcast, so majority of people have seen YouTube analytics. I mean, it was straight up in the air. It probably had got 500, 600,000 views overnight.
Jeez.
And because YouTube had recognized that it was, hey, this is a popular video. And that video, it changed the trajectory of my channel. I'll talk about the earnings here in a second. But on YouTube, you have 5 different ad types. And I never thought like, hey, I'm uploading this because I want to make it full time. I was just uploading it because I just love to do it. And didn't really optimize, just kind of was just making it the way I wanted and just tossing it up on YouTube and uploading it and then focusing on the next video. Somebody commented, they're like, dude, you should enable all the ad types on this video. This could be really lucrative for you. And I went in the back end, and you have 5 different ad types. You have banner ads, display ads, non-skippable, skippable, and I think auction or reserve or display ads or something like that. I only had display ads activated. So when I activated all 5 of them, not only were the viewership and the analytics and the watch time straight up in the next 2 or 3 days, the revenue went straight up as well.
Yeah,
got it.
And from that video, I ended up earning probably the first 1 or 2 million views was like $500, but the next 1 or 2 million views, it was like $5,000, $6,000. And I'm like, I'm working in the Navy 40 plus hours a week. This video took me, 4 hours to film and 4 or 6 hours to edit. And I just made $5,000 or $6,000 off of it. Like this isn't really adding up.
The mathing.
Yeah. Mathing. I was like, is this real money? And then when YouTube deposited to my account, it was like $6,000 or $7,000. I was like, I'm just going to leave this here. I don't know if this is mine. I don't know if I have to pay taxes on it. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Is IRS coming for me?
Exactly. Because it was like too good to be true. I was doing something I absolutely loved and earning like a decent check from it.
Yeah.
And that was the video that changed the trajectory of my channel. But that was after, 40 plus videos had been posted to my channel.
Well, I think that's what I like, that you said that like it was just something you did and something you loved, and then now it got to there. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned going back a little bit. You mentioned your dad had a few businesses. Besides selling you guys the fruits of your guys' labor.
Literally,
say. Yeah.
nothing official, nothing LLC or whatever.
Yeah.
He was a mechanic.
Okay.
And he would fix people's cars. Like, hey, buddy's got a tire that needs to be changed. He would change the tire and charge him like $30, $40. And before you know it, he had 5 or 6 cars outside of the garage because he did honest work and he was honest about it. And he would change oil and do all these things. And then he also worked a full-time job, a fundraising job. So like after work, he would just go. I mean, he was a worker. After work, he would go out in the shop and fix these vehicles. So that was the first kind of entrepreneurial business venture that I saw from my dad. Second one was, it's kind of funny. He made biscuits for people in the morning.
Really?
He worked at this plant with 1,000 plus people, and he started bringing in these biscuits that he would make, or my mom would make for him, homemade. And he's like, I think he gave one away. And then the guy's like, hey, can you bring me another biscuit? He's like, yeah, if you give me $1. So he brought the dude a biscuit, and he's like, man, this is the best biscuit I've ever had, dude. Like, I want 2 of them tomorrow. He's like, all right, give me $2. And before like word had spread, and my dad was up until like midnight making like 50 or 60 biscuits. He's like, you want a potato? That's 25 cents. You want cheese? That's another 25 cents. You want bacon? You want ham? That's another $1. You want a buttermilk biscuit, and as opposed to like a homemade from scratch biscuit, that'll be another $1, $2.
Wild.
He was selling like $3 biscuits. He was and then I remember.
How big was your kitchen?
It's small. Right? It's very small. It frustrated my mom, but I just saw him in there just whipping, listening to Michael Jackson, just whipping up these biscuits. And one morning, one day he came back. He's like, man, somebody found a hair in my biscuit. So he bought a thing of hair nets and like gloves. No. So it was all an apron. And
so he had a full-on factory back there.
The funny part is he got so big selling these biscuits every single day. And like back in Alabama, this is back in 2005 or 2006, he was making like $11 an hour. So he'd work a whole day and make $80, but then he would, on the back end, he'd be selling biscuits and making $60 to $100.
Damn.
He got so big that the FDA came in and was like, hey, do you have a food permit? And he's like, no. And he said, well, you got to stop. We're going to take you to jail. So he had to stop.
Whoa.
So, it's big when they come. Like when someone comes in.
But at that point, did someone like say something, or because I feel like once,
they did,
right? Because I feel like once something government starts getting involved, then someone ratted you out.
Yeah, it was the food company that was selling, like they'd stocked a fridge full of like breakfast shit, and nobody was buying it because they were buying my dad's biscuits.
Outside.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
But, probably 2 or 3 years later, working at the same plant, he was like, well, I can sell packaged goods. So he started buying drinks like Dr. Peppers and Nehighs and Sprites and everything, and buying them for like 75 cents or $1 and reselling them for $2. And every day he'd bring a big ass cooler full of drinks, like, hey, $2, and people would just put money in there and take the drinks.
Wow. Yeah, so he was always looking for something. Yeah. He's like, I'm not just gonna sit here. I'm gonna find something to do. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you started getting into photography or videography in high school, or before that?
Yeah, it was before that. I used to pick up my mom's she had a little camera that would record on this like big ass tape. Mm-hmm. You know, now we have SD cards. It's kind of weird to think about. It would record on this tape, and I would make action figure videos, and I would put them on the TV, and I'd be like, "Hey, Mom, watch this." Everybody would be like, "Oh, that's so cool." just to not hurt my feelings. And I would be watching the TV and watching them, and like, please laugh, like this is funny.
And it's like when you show your friend a funny video and you're waiting for the reaction.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I did that probably when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then when I got in 11th grade, the first day of school, I had an elective called current events, and my teacher walked in and she said, guys, honestly, I don't even know what we're going to do in this class. We're just supposed to talk about the news and everything. So I'm just going to bring some newspaper, and you guys can just look at the news. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I have a little camera. I raised my hand. I said, Miss Lancaster, can we make a show weekly, like a news show, and just take things from the newspaper and make it into our own vibe? She's like, that's a great idea. She's like, let's start like Monday or whatever. I was like, all right. So I went home and begged my mom. I was like, please, Mom, can you buy me this JVC Averio camcorder?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Please, I need it. I'm gonna be a producer. I'm gonna blah, blah, blah. She went out and she bought it for me. My mom was the most supportive woman in my life. Like, she was great.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Never was unsupportive. She always supported everything I did. And she's still with us too.
I don't even know if I should ask anymore.
I was using past tense, but yeah, she bought it for me.
Yeah.
So I attribute a lot of the success now to my mom. You know, she was a supporter of some of my early dreams.
Do your parents watch your videos now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I saw on Facebook where you did a marathon. I'm like, Mom, that was 4 months ago.
She's still commenting.
She's like, oh, okay.
She's like, how's your leg? You're like, Mom, I'm okay now.
I'm
like,
now.
I had surgery.
She's running like another marathon somewhere.
I talk to her, you know, almost every day. We text and FaceTime and everything. So I try to keep her updated with what I'm doing. But yeah, we ended up producing the show, and that's when my entrepreneurial spirits really started to flourish. Mm-hmm. We created the show as a 5 or 6 minute, you know, funny video. It was like 90% funny, 10% what was actually happening. We had a segment called Heather with the Weather. A friend of mine, you know, we just and I was using a pirated version of Sony Vegas 6.0 to edit all these videos on my mom's slow computer. It was like a Windows 95 or 98 or something like that. But I was staying up, like not getting sleep, just because I was so focused on getting these videos out. And at the end of every week, we'd show it in class, and people would talk about it. And teachers asked me like, "Hey, do you have a copy of that current events? I'd like to see it." And before long, they started playing it on the TVs. You know how they like can show the same program across
the whole school. Yeah, they like broadcast it
exactly. Yeah. And they would broadcast the current events, and I was so nervous because I'm like, fuck, if I like have any mishaps or whatever in editing, everybody's going to see it and I'm going to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So on those Fridays, like I would come in with a copy and I would just be so nervous because I would take it to the office and they would play it across the you know,
all 90 school, all 90 people.
Yeah. All 90. That's huge. Yeah. Did you ever have a hiccup? Or like any instance where you were like, damn, I did fuck up?
Nah, not that bad. I mean, the editing I still have the videos.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
The editing was terrible, you know, but it was story. It was people were having fun, people were laughing. It was all genuine.
Were you also in front of the camera and doing the editing?
I hated being in front of the camera. Oh, okay. I hated it. I didn't like the way I looked. I was very self-conscious. I was very introverted. I would tell people what to say, but I was never the host. I didn't want to be the host. I just wanted to be behind the camera.
That's cool.
That's great.
And by the time, you know, we had 6 episodes finished, people were like, "Hey, dude, I want a copy." I'm like, "All right, give me $10." And they're like, "Okay." So I would start taking pre-orders I probably had, 30 or 40 pre-orders or like $300-400. So I would go to eBay and I would buy these empty DVD cases and I would print out current events, episode 1 through 6, edited by Austen Alexander, and I would sell them, and it was like the best investment for them because they had, 30 minutes of just pure entertainment with them and their friends. And
it's like early podcasting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was before like YouTube was kind of getting big.
I was gonna say it was probably like right before that, right?
Really, really early YouTube.
Yeah. But I would burn these DVDs and sell them, and came home with this money, and I paid my mom back half of what she paid for the camera. I think the camera was like $700. Yeah. I was like, hey, thank you so much. Like, this is what I've done. Be proud of me.
Yeah.
And that was my first real taste of my own entrepreneurial adventures.
That is wild.
That's so fucking crazy. No, and I can imagine, like you said, that it's from like a small town, so you see all your friends on camera and you see them like saying the news, like you're a news anchor. So I'm like, I can imagine like everyone just gathering around wanting to see that. So that's pretty badass.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's really cool. I mean, it's dope that you still have it.
Yeah.
To go back and look at it. Honestly, sometimes I think about like the podcast in itself. And my nieces sometimes watch. I mean, they probably shouldn't be because they're like all younger than 10. But and sometimes we say some wild stuff on here. I was like, you probably shouldn't be on my channel.
I'll stop cussing.
Oh no, it's cool. I mean, I'm probably worse in front of them. I don't know why I'm just so anal about them watching it on YouTube.
Why you're so what?
Exactly.
But sometimes it's pretty dope because it's like we can go back and see these later. Like I don't think I'm ever gonna take down my YouTube channel, even if we do ever for some reason stop podcasting. Like I wouldn't take them down.
Well, he has how many terabytes of just?
No, I know. I'm just gonna send them to you.
27.
Well, you have extras, so you can just send him.
Yeah, I got you.
Can you say he's gonna start charging me? No, I don't know. Now. Start charging me $10 a day. It's not a bad business, actually.
Yeah,
we'll talk later. But that's super dope. And you actually reminded me of something when you said about the cassette tapes where you would like record on that. It reminded me. I used to love coming home after school. My dad would pick me up or my mom would pick me up and like listening to voicemails. Because I liked seeing the little recorder. That was back when they would record the actual voicemails on like little cassettes. Like they were tiny little things.
Yeah.
And I used to watch just like rewinding it and like playing it, making sure I got it at the right exact moment.
That's funny. Dude.
Yeah. Damn, triggering memories right now.
Yeah, right? Yeah. We're just going to go back. Well, dude, I think it's crazy because like, so do you feel like that entrepreneurship really just came from your parents? Like just seeing them and then you're like, you know what? I want to do this too.
I think now thinking about it, yeah, I do.
Because I mean, your dad he just sounds like he was a hustler the whole time.
Yeah, he was. He's like my brother, had it a little bit too. He'd buy and sell like tins, with like collectible tins, like Hershey tins and stuff like that. And I just remember when we have a yard sale, I would just get so excited because I'm like, I'm selling my stuff and making money from it. So yeah, I think it was ignited in me earlier, seeing my dad be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and then it all kind of comes back, right? That you loved making videos, you started with your YouTube, and then now you're making money, and then it's a career now for you. So I'm like, so you do what you love. That's seriously, like the number one thing.
Yeah, but make sure you love it, so you can be sure to stay consistent with it. And if you love playing checkers, play checkers. You don't have to mold to anybody's expectations of you. If you love playing checkers and you're completely content with that, then just play checkers.
And so now, how did you get to where you're at right now with your videos specifically? Because you said, of course, you changed it with that model once, and now you're here. Now you're doing Battle Bunker, and then you're doing what are the games?
Hybricongames.
Hybricongames.
Yeah.
So now you're there. Like you're doing all this fitness, and then it's also you making jokes in front of the camera. So how did we get there?
Well, it took a long time. A lot of people see things that I do and they're like, wow, he must have just started and blown up. Like, no, that's not the case at all. Like everything we have now is through lots and lots of variations and iterations and constantly optimizing and just staying consistent. In 2018, when I got my first paycheck from Google, it was $31. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then it started to escalate, $5 or $6 grand, then 10, 15, 20, 30. And I became obsessed with learning the algorithms on YouTube, click-through rates, watch times, everything, watch time from different geographies all over the world. And I'm the type, like, I'm not a good planner. I'm a good executor, but I suck at planning. So sometimes I'll just execute something and figure it out along the way. And the earnings had gotten pretty consistent through 2019 and 2020, and the Navy was like, Navy like had benefits. They took care of me, even though it was a lot of work. I was financially okay, and
It's like security.
exactly security, and I had benefits, all this stuff. And they said, all right, it's time to re-up in 2020. And I said, no, I'm going to take this YouTube thing full time. I'm either going to go homeless trying to do it, or I'm going to be successful. And they're like, YouTube? Like, what are you talking about? You're going to get out of the Navy to do YouTube? And I was like, yeah. So I got out in November 2020. And I never wanted my channel just to be about myself. I always wanted to involve people and make a community. And so that's when I had the idea to build Battle Bunker, which was an obstacle course. I said, I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it happen. So first thing I said, I need to buy land. And I'm talking about this because Battle Bunker opened like a whole new world of opportunity for me. Mm-hmm. So I bought 10 acres of land in Lancaster, California. It was $10,000. I'm like, man, this is a steal. I'm about to build.
I was like doing the math. I was like, oh shit, that is
like
good.
$1,000 an acre. I mean, Lancaster sucks. Terrible area. It's hot and it's poisonous because they had like a lot of asbestos and everything back in the 60s and 70s. And I bought it. I messaged the county of LA. I'm like, hey, I'm going to build an obstacle course here. I need some permits. And they're like, okay, first you need a significant ecological area survey. You need a barn owl survey. You need a desert tortoise survey. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, give me the contact for somebody that does these surveys. And they send me this guy, John or whatever. He's like, yeah, I can do these surveys for $55. I'm thinking $5,500 is expensive. And I'm like, how long does it take? He's like, oh, it'd take 3 or 4 weeks. I'm like, this is $5,500, right? He's like, no, it's $35,000 for the ecological area survey, and it's another 10 for the endangered animals. So it's going to cost me another $55,000 to get permits to hopefully build a course here.
Damn.
And I remember in 2020, like, I was so devastated because I'm like, man, this obstacle course is never going to come to fruition. This is never going to work. And I was like, I have to keep pushing for it. And I had partnered with Night Media. I mean, the same company that manages Mr. Beast and ZAC, like the biggest and best agency in the entire world. Mm-hmm. I was very fortunate to meet a guy named Michael Gordon. He's still one of my best friends today. I love the guy. He's done so much for me. And when I partnered with him, I told him what I was doing. He's like, oh, my friend has a parcel. Why don't you go out there and try to build a course in his paintball park? And I was like, all right. I went out there and ended up bouncing to a few paintball parks, and I found this guy named Glenn, Ambush Paintball up in Moore Park, California. Yeah. I said, hey, do you have some extra land? He's like, sure, hop in with me. And so we're just mobbing through mountains of just beautiful land. I'm like, how much can you give me? He's like, you can take this back 80 acres. I was like, how much do you want for it? He's like, give me $3,000 a month and I'll sublease it out to you. I said, how fast can you make a lease? So I started paying $3,000 a month, and I built this obstacle course in 40 days. And it was during my transition time from the Navy. It was like really tough. It was like I was going through a lot of shit in my head. Like, is this the right thing to do? Is this what I want to do? Like, I was battling a lot of demons out there. And 40 days later, I had the course up. It was 9 obstacles. We had some telephone poles and some nets and everything, but it was the story that drove it, which is what I didn't realize. Like, people were seeing this guy from Alabama, leaving the Navy, building an obstacle course out in the middle of the desert, filming YouTube videos on it. It's kind of like a unique story, I guess, when you think about it. And in 2020, December, I produced the first Battle Bunker episode, and it flopped. I'm like, all right, we're going to try this again. Produce another one. Flopped. I'm like, well, fuck, I guess this is it. I started looking into jobs like LA Harbor Division. I worked Harbor Patrol in the Navy. I was like, I guess I'm going to work LAPD or LAHD. And then, because that was like security for me, I was like, if this goes to shit, then I at least have a backup
something
plan.
to land on, yeah.
And in January, we produced a Battle Bunker episode called SWAT Operator versus U.S. Marine. And with YouTube, like, things can change within 5 or 6 days. Produced a video, uploaded it. I think it shot up to 1 million or 2 million views, which got a lot of other viewership on the other Battle Bunker episodes. It made like $7 or $8 from this one video. I'm like, okay, this is it. It gave me some momentum in 2021 to keep pushing. And throughout 2021, we produced 21 episodes of Battle Bunker out there on the course. And it got so big that Snap reached out to us and Facebook reached out to us. They're like, hey, we want to give you a Facebook channel show and a snap show, and
Wow.
it was all these challenge videos. And so instead of YouTube for the monetization only, now we had Snapchat, now we had Facebook, and we were all generating it from the same content that we posted on YouTube. So that's how Battle Bunker started. It started as a course, an obstacle course, and I called the course the Battle Bunker, you know, and we just kept producing from there. And then I'll go ahead and segue into how Battle Bunker like became what it is now. A guy reached out to me. His name's Hunter McIntyre. He reached out to me in 2021. He's like, dude, I love this series. It reminds me of a show I was on called Broken Skull Ranch. We need to have a competition. I was like, all right. So throughout 2021, we kept producing the show. In 2022, we started looking for a location that we could build a new obstacle course and have a competition on. And so that happened in 2022. And then I also had started the Battle Bus, which is what y'all were talking about.
We saw you pull up, and that's him.
Literally.
We fanboyed a little bit.
Yeah, she loves riding the van. She's like, please, can I drive the van, please? So I told my buddy, I was like, you know, I think I'm going to buy a van, and I'm going to make a short form series out of it. And I want to call it like the Battle Bus, where we just go around and challenge people. And he's like, dude, I think it's a great idea. And so I bought this van. I wrapped it green. It was a 1986 Dodge Ram B250. It was like a creeper van, but I thought it was funny. I'm like, you know, this is going to be the most like bizarre story.
You want to do some pull-ups on my van?
Yeah, come to my van.
Free pull-ups, like give you $1. So the first Battle Bus episode, I rigged some GoPros up in there, and I said, you know what? I'm going to have my friend plank in the back of it on some mats, and I'm just going to whip it around and drive as fast as I can and see how long he can.
Great.
You know, this is core stability, right? This is a fitness video. So he hops in the back, and I'm whipping around turns, like dodging potholes, everything, and he's, you know, sliding around in the back. And I posted, and people were like, dude, this is so dangerous. What the fuck you doing?
What was the longest you planked for?
I don't know, probably like a minute and 20 seconds.
That's a pretty long time.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then my hope for the Battle Bus started to decline a little bit. I'm like, okay, we have to think of a better format. So then it was POV. I would put a camera on my chest, walk up to people, hey, how many pull-ups can you do? How many push-ups can you do? You want to challenge me? And we just challenge each other. I would make a short out of it. That didn't work. And then I said, you know, we need something that's sustainable and something that I can get multiple reactions out of. So I had my cousin Braxton film me outside of a gym. And I think that was before we had the pull-up bar. We were just doing push-ups. Like, hey, I'll give you $1 for every push-up you do. And we filmed it. And I gave it to an editor. I was like, hey, I'll give you $10 for every short that you edit. He's like, sure. He edited like 30 or 40 shorts from it, started posting them to TikTok and Facebook and everything. Here's where the crazy part happens. And that format, I guess me just engaging with people organically, hey, what's up, dude? Like, can you do push-ups? It clicks with everybody. Like, everybody knows what push-ups are, so they want to keep watching. Like, how many push-ups can this guy do? Yeah. So we started posting the videos, and they just start blowing up. Like, and I was overwhelmed. People were like, hey, dude, I want to be on the Battle Bus. Like, I love this series, blah, blah, blah. So we just kept creating it. I put a microphone on me and made it really clean and made it look really well. And about that time, your dog is snoring.
Oh, yeah.
About that time, that's when all these short-form platforms started coming out with all these products. Mm-hmm. And that's when Facebook was like, we want to get ahead of the game. We want to beat TikTok. So they started just giving a shit ton of money through the Bonus Reels program. So we start uploading to Facebook, and I'm, you know, we're getting 1 or 2 million views. I make like $1,000 or $2,000. I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is like, can pay for the van and pay for the money that I give away. Next month, they bumped it up. Well, they capped me out at 35 grand. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I have the opportunity to earn 35 grand a month. Mm. So I just start going absolutely ham with these Battle Bus videos, and we're uploading 60 a month, 2 a day, and I'm having to pay these editors. I'm like, get this out. We start, you know, project management, and this is how I built the team. Like, we started a project management platform called Asana. We had Austen Alexander YouTube videos in there, Battle Bunker, Snapchat, Facebook, and TikTok in there, and then Battle Bus now. So I was like working with all these editors, assigning it. They're all contract basis, but 2022 in March, we had garnered so much viewership on Facebook from the Battle Bus episode that we had capped out that 35 grand. And Facebook paid me 35 grand to upload videos. I'm like, well, shit, this is awesome. Paid for the van. And I was just giving out like bands to people. I'm like, hey, dude, can you do pull-ups? I'll give you $20 a pull up. People like freak out. They're like, dude, how's this guy getting so much money from these, like giving out all this money from pull ups?
Yeah.
And it continued throughout 2022. We did $250,000 from the battle bus. Like a $5,000
just
van,
from that one.
Yeah.
$5,000 van investment with a little bit of my time and just being nice and just giving people money. It was $250,000. And I'm like, okay, well, this is getting serious. So I started to build out teams and started to, like, I had never hired anybody before. And my first hire full time was a guy named Ivan. He's still with me today. Great guy. We fight all the time, but he knows what's up.
Yeah.
Like,
you need that pushback for somebody.
He's head of production for everything that we do. Battle Bus, Austen Alexander YouTube, everything. Even the Hybricongames documentary, everything. So I hired him, and he moved 16 years from LA. He moved to San Diego. And I remember when he first moved, he's like, I don't have a place to stay, but we have all these projects going. Like, we were getting booked for commercials, like 6-figure brand deals. And I went from, making $3 or $4 grand from YouTube to like the earnings were just skyrocketing. Sometimes like some months would be 6-figure months. And I'm like, what do I do with this? Like, I guess I just hire people to help me. And it just escalated from there. And I've never, like, a lot of creators, they'll go out and they're like, oh, they'll buy a Lambo and they'll buy a G-Wagon. That's the common thing to do or whatever. But I just kept investing it. I invested it into Hybricongames, in the obstacle course, and like trying to create new avenues to build higher equity and build bigger brand awareness. And that's how Hybricongames was born, which is another asset that we use to monetize through sponsors and everything. And that happened in 2022. We had our first. Man, I'm just giving you guys the full story.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, that's
like,
dope. Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I like your drive though, because you said that you didn't. Well, apart that you didn't stop, but like the drive to like reinvest into yourself, and I think that's the biggest thing. I do see a lot of content creators or just creators in general. I'm putting them all into a bubble where their drive is to show off, right? Buy that Lambo or buy the big fancy house or whatever it is. But you're reinvesting in yourself, which ultimately it's a circle, right? It's all gonna come back to you eventually.
Yeah.
But you reminded me of what you said about your dad, that he just saw the money coming in from his biscuits, and he's like, okay, well now, I mean, for he saw the hair thing. He's like, okay, well now I got to reinvest in myself, and now I got to get hair nets. So I'm just all tying this all back to like the way you grew up, and ultimately, you growing up, and I'm assuming it was a very like humble startup, out in Alabama farm, 90 people. Like, it's not like you were surrounded around people who had a bunch of fancy cars.
No, not at all.
Huge, man. It's not like you saw a Lambo left and right. It's not like if you lived in LA where you're kind of, you're a lot more prone to see that, right? You're a lot more prone to see bigger, fancier cars and bigger mansions, I guess you could say, so it's different with the way you grew up and how you translated that into your business.
Yeah. It's such a culture shock. I went from Alabama to bouncing around to all these different states and different countries in the Navy, like seeing these people who were just different from people in Alabama. And I remember in 2018, I was about to compete in a bodybuilding show, and I was doing a photo shoot, and the guy's like, all right, walk out in the water in Santa Monica. And I stepped in the ocean, and I was just walking out, and I see the horizon, and I'm like, you know what, this is after the YouTube kind of started to take off just a little bit, and like as far as viewership, not earnings. And I just remember seeing like all these people in Santa Monica, like all these people have these fancy cars and houses, like they seem happy, like they seem driven, like this is where I want to be. And I think in 2018 I made a commitment to myself. I was like, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm just going to keep trying. I'm going to do people right. I'm going to do right by others. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be a good businessman. I'm going to be fair. And hopefully it'll come back to me. And I remember that moment. I don't know what it was, if it was the way the ocean felt on me or the sun or whatever. I can just remember I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be. I want to make it. And it's worked out pretty decently so far. I mean, we have ups and downs all the time. Like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes we'll have to film a video. We filmed a video last week where I had to stay up, like sleep in a tent, and then like just constantly working with people around the clock, like editors. Like it's tough, like especially managing people,
Yeah.
And especially when somebody's not doing their job, we have, you know, a group of 3 incredible editors now, but a bunch of thumbnail people on contract. If somebody's not doing their job, like I have to tend to it. It doesn't matter if it's 9 o'clock at night. It doesn't matter if it's you know, 7 or 8 in the mornings. My schedule is still very, very work centric all of the time.
Well, that is a common theme, like at least on the podcast when I do bring on creators. It's like everybody sees the end product. No one sees the work or the work that goes behind it. And that's one of the main, like, I guess, things that I like to let people know. It's like so many people now, like content creating has become such a huge niche that so many people just want to become a content creator because they see the end goal. But nobody has the drive to do everything, all the back end stuff. Andy and I were just talking about it when he pulled up earlier today, where it's like, dude, we just have to do like so much just to get one short video. And sometimes it's staying up all night. It is dealing with people, like you said. And sometimes you don't want to deal with people. Or maybe you see a vision and trying to communicate that to somebody that's doesn't.
The toughest part.
You know? Yeah. And I'm glad you have your team of editors now where you said he's been with you for how many years now?
Ivan's been with me since 2022.
So he's been with you for,
about 2 years.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 years.
Yeah. So he sees your vision. And I you said you guys butt heads a lot, but sometimes you do need that person. You know, you don't need a yes man. This is going to say yes to all your. He needs to see, like, you obviously see the bigger picture, but he needs to see it a little bit bigger too, right? So he can't always be saying yes to you. You kind of need that pushback, seeing the 2 sides of the tape, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's OCD and he's like real tedious about everything. He likes to talk for 3 hours about a 2-second clip. And I'm kind of like just in execute mode, like, okay, let's just get it done. Let's get it done. So it's a good balance. Yeah.
I think it's funny because I think he's like perfect for the podcast right now. Because your whole saying, like, Vive con Huevos, this guy like literally did, and you took all the risk because you said you got out of the Navy, which you had security, you had everything, but you're like, nah, I'm gonna go do this. And I'm like, that's pretty badass. It's like stands for what your podcast literally like stands for. Like you lived with eggs. Like, you had so much trust in what you were gonna do. That's just cool, man.
What's the translation of Vive con Huevos?
The literal translation means live with eggs, but it's in slang. So the huevos is slang. So
for testicles.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's basically like live. To put it nicely, is just live fearlessly, you know? And I think that was the main gist of it when I started it back in 2020, where it was like so many people lost their jobs or lost people, or we were just so confined because of COVID, right? That no one really knew what to do, that people actually started pursuing their passion projects. So it was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do anymore. So I'm going to start being a lot more creative, I guess. They're just being a lot more open to their creativeness. So that was just the big gist of like Vive con Huevos, was like follow that passion project. Don't be scared. Take risks. Like at the end of the day, I say it on my sign off. You'll hear it later. But at the end of the day, the only thing that you regret are the things that you didn't do. Yeah. And prior to me opening up the businesses, I was in nursing school. So I dealt a lot with like hospice and geriatrics. So there was a lot of regret where I was at. Yeah. You know, a lot of the common theme or a lot of the common conversations that I had with the people who I was taking care of was like, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have started this business, or I wish I would have been a dancer instead of, you know, being an accountant. So that's something that I really wanted to translate into the podcast and translate into ultimately the listeners, is like, follow that dream. Obviously we all need security sometimes, so it is going to be scary, but if you don't take that leap, then you'll never know what's on the other side, right? You know, if you didn't take your leap, if you would have listened to when you were going to discharge from the Navy, if you would have listened to them, or if you would have been like kind of sheltered when they laughed at you per se, for following YouTube, then you would have not seen the outcome now, right? You would have just stayed in the Navy. You would have had your secure job, your secure paycheck. You wouldn't have known what the ultimate end is, right? Or where you're at now, basically. And who knows? Maybe you would have just been like unhappy as hell. And I think that's another thing that I always like to translate, is like, it's ultimately your own happiness.
Yeah, well, I mean, which ultimately is the most important thing. Yeah. I mean, you hear the saying all the time, and bringing up the hospice and the geriatric, portion. You've heard the quote, like, the worst thing that you can do is be on your deathbed and have regrets. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to do, and I want to go, and I want to experience, and I want to build, and I want to grow. And if I do it and fail miserably, like end up with nothing, that's still a better feeling than not trying at all. And it's hard for a lot of people because security is a real thing. If anybody asks me like, hey, I have this business, do it. Please do it. Do it for yourself. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it. One of my friends, Shannon, I met him at the park. I go to the park and walk every single morning. And he's like, dude, I'm getting out of the Navy and I have this business idea for a cold plunge place. And I just wanted to talk to you about it because I know you got out of the Navy and you transitioned into your own business. And he said, I could take a job making $300, $400K a year doing explosives ordnance for civilians. But I really have this idea for a cold plunge place called Tribe. Mm-hmm. I said, do it. I said, the money can wait. Like, if you don't do this now, you will never do it. And you need to do it. And like a month later, he texted me and he's like, hey dude, I secured a spot, a lease in a building, and he started to build out, and now he runs a very successful cold plunge business. It's cash flow positive month 3. Mm-hmm. And he's thinking about opening like a second and a third one. So wow. Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, if you have a goal and you have a vision and you believe in yourself to stay consistent, jump off and take the risk.
Yeah. Have you always been like that?
No, not at all.
Because you had mentioned, like in high school you were a little bit introverted. So where did that switch happen for you?
When I was 25, I said, I'm getting older. Like, life is crazy. Like, you wake up one morning, your hands look a little different. Your face and your body looks a little different. You're like, fuck, this getting old and this life thing is a real thing. If I don't take control of it, then nobody else is. And I said, that's when I said, I want to be a better human. I want to be a role model to others, and I will beat myself into the ground if it means that I can look back and say I'm proud of myself. So it started when I was 25. I never took risk, never did anything really worthwhile until I was like 25.
Where did you find that drive for you to want to motivate others?
Honestly, it started, I was on YouTube and I see this guy, he's like 19 years old. He's like, how I make $250,000 a month doing Amazon FBA. I'm like, there's really nothing special about this guy. If this guy can do something and build something that he loves doing, then there's no reason that I can't. And that's what triggered the thought. It made me believe that I could do it as well. And it wasn't about the money portion. It was about something that he took a risk doing. He invested some time in, and now he's, controls his own destiny. So that's what gave me the confidence. I'm like, this little 19-year-old kid is doing it. I'm 24, I'm 25, and I can do it too. And that's when I started learning and teaching like myself about everything, finance books, marketing books, everything, anything I get my hands on, podcasts, everything. Just learning more about the world, trying different things. And that's when it really sparked. When it
really just dawned on you?
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like that's crazy because I feel like, well, in my case, I'm pretty sure for you too, especially like in Latino households, I feel like they expect you to have your life ready by like 18 or 21. And I think what you said, like you were like 25 and you're like, okay, now I'm going to start. Mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy because for me, I'm 29. And I was like, damn, I feel like I'm running out of time. Like, I was like, that's it. Like, if I don't do anything by this year, like, that's it. And that's crazy because I feel like you hear a lot of people being like, no, by 21, I'm going to be ready. But it didn't take you till 25 to be like, this is where I'm starting. And then, it paid off for you. So I think that's cool. I just always think, especially for myself, that I'm always like, I'm running out of time. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to have any more time. So that's cool to hear that story, like that you waited.
Yeah.
That it happened then.
It's not like I waited. I didn't really come into contact with that type of belief until I was 25. Yeah. And I love reading when people became a millionaire. Bill Gates is like 42. So it took him a while, like to get Microsoft and, everything up and running. I think Steve Jobs was like in his 30s. So age is just a number. A lot of people use that as a pressure point on themselves. Like, well, it's 28. I'm 28. I already have a job and like marketing. So I guess I'm just gonna do this the rest of my life, even though like they don't necessarily like it or whatever. Like it's never too late to start anything.
Yeah. That's a big Vivek. I need that. Thank you for the clip. We can end this now. But no, it's these socially constructed time points that just give so many people anxiety. It's like he's like, by 25 I need to be married and have kids. By 30 I need to be a millionaire or whatever it is. And these are exaggerated time slots, but it's these things in society that keep us from wanting more for our lives or wanting more or pushing ourselves. It all goes back to the whole stability and having that like financial stability, I guess, right? So it's like, oh, I should stay here in this example, in this marketing job, because it's bringing me a stable income.
It's safe.
Yeah, it's safe. But in reality, and maybe I do want to start a podcast or be a content creator or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be something creative, but it could just be anything else. So I like that message. I like that message.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I know. Now, I'm 32 and I still don't know what I want to be. Right? I'm still looking for choices.
What do you like to do?
I like this.
This is going to turn into a therapy session real quick.
Yeah.
You like producing content?
Yeah. You know what? I like talking to people.
Okay.
As far as like content creating, I battle with that a lot because there's that content creating where you're doing the voiceovers or you're doing the funny skits. But I feel like, we talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but I feel like that has a shelf life. I can't be like 40 years old, doing voiceovers or funny voiceovers. I don't see myself doing that. Is there people that do that? Yeah, but that's them. That's their personality. That's their characteristics. I don't see myself doing that. I love talking to people. I love hearing stories. I love creating businesses. My dad has had businesses his entire life, so I grew up seeing that. So I ultimately had a love for creating something that I could give people, like that. I like when I started Hybricongames, I loved seeing people wear my merch or buying something from me that I created. So I think that's the whole gist of it. The podcasting thing, I love talking to people and I love hearing their stories, just because you said earlier, your story is just so unique. And maybe you have hopped on another podcast, but it's just been so revolved around like what you have now, right? That is like, there's more to you than just your challenges and your YouTube videos and the pull-ups. There's more to Austen than just that. So that's what I like doing.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna cry right now.
It's okay. I mean, if you love talking to people, that and don't corner yourself into, okay, I have to make this podcast. Like there are so many other ways to talk to people, like on the side of the street, like you've seen those signs that like you hold up a sign that's like, free hugs or whatever, and you just talk to people. Like that could be a great addition to the podcast content or whatever. And like public speaking, like sign up for whatever they call it, the Toastmasters, something like that. Yeah. Like working on public speaking, like there are lots of different other avenues. And for me, I love creating fitness, and I just found different avenues to do it. Like the Hybricongames is like the ultimate, like more serious showdown, less of my personality, more about the athletes. And the battle bus is like me just chatting with random people on the street. And then YouTube channel is focused on me doing challenges and other people doing challenges. And there are multiple ways where I spread out that fitness message, and you can do the same thing through talking to people. Yeah.
There's actually there's a creator here in San Diego. I think it's called The Love Project, where he does that. He goes out, you reminded me because of the whole sign thing. I think his sign says like, let's talk about anything. And he literally that's his whole content. It's just that.
Yeah, it gets unique stories. People love consuming content, which I'm thankful for. But people, if you format it the right way, people watch anything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm all inspired over here.
I
saw you shed a tear earlier.
And I was like, damn.
He's had to suck it back up.
These guys are beautiful right now.
But I do want to talk about a little bit more about how you got to this, because I know I had mentioned before you have a wide array of things on your resume, but you also had a lot of businesses that you've tried before.
Yep.
What were they?
First one was called The Business Gentleman. It was a drop shipping store from Shopify. And I just took screenshots of the photos and I learned how to set up Facebook and Instagram ads. I think I got like 2 or 3 sales. But then I was like, I'm not passionate about men's leather bags and watches. So that's when I was still learning, like, hey, you got to be passionate about something if you really are going to do it. So I started another business called Architecture. It was an Amazon FBA thing. I purchased on credit because this is when I was still trying to make more revenue. I purchased these posture correctors and did a photo shoot with them and like made my own logo, and they sent me like 200 of them. And I sent them into Amazon. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sell these Amazon FBA. It's going to be great. I'm going to make some money. So invest in $2,000 on a cash advance credit card because everything else was maxed out. I send these products into Amazon, and Amazon's like, hey, do you have a certificate from the FDA? This is a medical device. You have to have an FDA certificate or something like that. And I was like, I don't have one. I messaged the manufacturer. They're like, oh, these aren't approved by the FDA. We just make them. I'm like, all right. Okay. Well, so they sent me all these posture correctors back that I had worked 6 months, really hard on. And I just had 200 posture correctors just sitting in my house. And so after that folded, I was like, I'm going to start learning some stock trading. I taught myself all about stock option trading, penny stocks, scalping, futures, covered calls, selling covered calls, covered puts, buying puts, selling calls, everything about the stock market. I know there's a lot. I still do it a little bit to this day, but just seeing like, hey, I made $3 here, I made $4 here. Like it gave me a little boost to like keep going. Like maybe this is possible. And after getting involved in the whirlwind of like such emotion through stock trading, because one day you'd be up $5,000, one day you'd be down $5,000, and you're like, fuck, my world's coming to an end. But then when you'd be up $5,000, it was like a rush. It was like a drug. I hated it. So
it's a different type of gambling.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I stopped stock trading, and then I shifted towards e-com again. I started a business called the Captain's Cup Coffee. It was a drop ship coffee. Mm-hmm. I created the brand. I taught myself how to use Illustrator and Photoshop. So I was picking up, little skills here and there, Canva, Photoshop, Illustrator. Started that. Didn't really get any sales. I folded it. What else? Lifting straps on Amazon FBA. I'm like, okay, well, I use lifting straps all the time. Let me hit up my guy in Bahrain. And he made these lifting straps for me, and my brand was called Lifter. I registered it with the government and bought ISBN, GCN codes, UPC codes. I think that's what they call them. Mm-hmm. And I started selling them on Amazon, and it worked for a little bit. I was making probably $30-$40 profit a day, and just teaching myself about SEO and about Amazon FBA. And
you were on the computer a lot, just going down like rabbit holes.
Everything was a computer.
Yeah, because like just selling, like just for example, like the merch, like just that in itself, like learning the tax codes. Then when you ship to somewhere else, like people don't know this, but when you ship to like another state, then you got to learn their tax codes because you got to pay them. So it's like,
oh damn,
harmonized serial codes, like everything. I wasn't in the process of learning. I was in the process of doing. Mm-hmm. I was just wanted to do, and I activated my stores, and like I was learning like about taxes.
What's your slogan? You're a good executor, not a good planner.
Exactly. Terrible planner, great executor. And sometimes I'll make a decision like split second decision because I think it's the best. But even before all of this, before the digital stuff, when I was in the debt, you guys remember the Lime and the Bird scooters?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I would charge those.
Really? You were picking them up and charging them?
$5.
I forgot that was a thing. Yeah.
And
I actually wanted to do that for a bit because I clean carpets with my dad. He has a carpet cleaning business. So we work in downtown a lot. So sometimes I would see them and I would tell them, we should just do this on the side. Like just pick them up, charge them, and go back and put them out there in 5 a.m. when we're back out in the streets.
It was the hours were rough. Yeah. I was coming back home from the Navy. I would go pick up like, 5 or 6 or 7, however many I could fit in my Tahoe. And I would charge them in my house, and I would put them out on the street at like 4:45 before the, 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Buzzer went off.
Their rush. Yeah.
And that was the first, I'd probably make $200-$300 a month, and that's how I first started paying down a little bit of that principal on my credit card. And then I started getting to the e-coms, so I was making like a little bit of money, $200-$300 from there. And then I didn't even talk about the social media marketing company that I started. It's called AMA Marketing Ventures. I founded it in 2018. I said, I'm going to help people market their business using the knowledge that I learned from like social media and like Facebook and Instagram and everything. And before long, I found myself in the biggest real estate firm in Long Beach. It was Coldwell Banker, and I was pitching to like 10 or 15 executives on how I could increase their social media. Of course, I didn't get the job because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but
you were there though.
Yeah,
I was there, and I had become confident, like come out of my shell, like. Yeah. And after the whole social media thing, I got one client by a guy. I think his name was Steve. He was paying me $200 a month to retain his Facebook ads for his Alcoholics Anonymous in-home sobriety program.
So now you're learning all the back end, like Google Analytics.
Yes, everything. Yeah. And I built out his whole platform, his landing page using ClickFunnels, and I still have a picture. I think I still have the check, my first $200 check, and he was texting me, like he would call me all the time. Hey, what is this? What is this? I was like, I can't do this. And I was like, you know what? I want to market my own social media. And that's when I started shifting more towards the YouTube stuff. Yeah. And I would pick up jobs here and there. Like I would contract people working for $100 an hour, working on their ClickFunnels and working on their landing pages and stuff like that. So I was picking up a little bit of money here and there that kept me consistent and for me to keep going. But before long, I just I shut everything down and focused on YouTube.
But all that helped you. I mean, like, I feel like everything you've been talking about, like, that taught you something from everything and lets you where you're at now.
Exactly. It taught me valuable skills. Yeah. And if it wasn't for the stock option trading, I would have been a really rough patch in 2020. I still had some stocks and whatnot, but when I hired an editor for $3,000 a month, and then I started paying $3,000 a month for the Battle Bunker land, and I started getting thumbnail artists. And I had to pay myself. So I was going from like $1,000 or $2,000 a month in expenses. Immediately when I got out and I stopped receiving that Navy pay, I was at $10,000 a month in expenses. And I'm like, fuck, this is not good.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the bank account was slowly dwindling because I wasn't making $10,000 a month every month.
Yeah.
And that's when I utilized what I knew about stocks and I started selling covered calls. I was making $1,000 a week selling covered calls and just playing a simple strategy. I'd make like $4 or $5,000 a month. And I did that for the first, 4 or 5 months in 2021, and it helped me out a ton.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna say something. I was gonna be like, you're not broke because you're broke because you want to be broke, right?
Yeah.
There's money out there. Yeah,
there are ways
for sure. Yeah. That is crazy.
I feel like, and I've had this talk with my dad. I feel like a lot of people are just too proud to do like the small work. Like you were charging scooters to make money. And I feel like a lot of people don't want to do that because they're like, that's like that's beneath me. Like, but it's not. Like if you want to make money and you want to get to your goal, like you got to just do a bunch of things.
There's always something out there that you could do.
Yeah, well, especially now everything's just so accessible. I mean, Paulina, my fiance, and I we were Uber eating for a bit to get a little bit more extra income for the wedding funds. I used to recycle cans with my dad like on the weekends or just on Sundays. Just from like all our workers or just all the soda cans that we would drink, and I would just start picking things up, and I would just go like, I mean, that's sometimes I would get like $120. That's $120 I didn't have yesterday over shit that I was already drinking and consuming. So I was just making money off of myself, basically. That's inspiring, man. I feel like I could be here forever just asking you like question after question.
Hey, he's like, he only had 15 minutes and we're like an hour.
I only had like a $500 budget for him.
Hey,
I'll send you an invoice after this.
God damn.
He's like, you can post 5 minutes of that podcast.
Awesome. But let's take a quick break because I need to check the cameras real quick. I can't see that one.
Okay.
Cool.
I was 20 when I joined.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say we're back. Sometimes I do that.
That's right. And we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I was trying to get like your ages because you said 25 is when you had like that big change. So you entered at 20.
Yep.
Okay.
I spent 7 years in the Navy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How was that culture change for you? I mean, someone coming from a small town to...
It was crazy.
Yeah.
We he had all white people.
Yeah.
And I joined the Navy and I was a minority.
Yeah.
I was amongst Hispanic, black, everything. White people.
Everything. This melting pot.
Yep. And it was great too. Like one of the best friends I had, his name was Awusu. He was Kenyan. I'm sorry. He's from Togo, Africa.
Yeah. Just
a great, solid dude. Barely spoke English, but him and I became the greatest friends.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah, that's true. Cause I was just like, I feel like everyone isn't. Yeah. And you came from mostly a white area. So then you go, boom, everyone here.
It's like, who the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
White guy from Alabama, they're like, oh, I bet you're a racist. I'm like, kind of a little bit, but yeah, I just kind of fed into it.
It's funny because I was going to tell you off the pod, but whatever. I texted Andy and then we were talking about like what we should get to eat. I forgot how the conversation went, but I was like, man, Austen looks like he eats chicken breast and little Mexican kids for breakfast.
No, my diet's pretty clean, but I eat, stuff all the time.
Why'd you look at me?
No, okay. Sometimes I'll have a quesadilla. I'll have sushi. Like, I'm not 20% of the time, I'm not the cleanest eater.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you work out so damn much. I just feel like it doesn't even I don't know.
Well, I have a very high metabolism, so I have to eat a lot in order to keep size on. Like, especially with a lot of training, like I have to eat a shit ton of food. And still now I probably eat 2,500, 3,000 calories and I've lost weight.
God damn. I hate you. Get cut off my couch, man. I was liking you, but now that you said that.
But I do train a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you not just work out for your videos, but you also have to maintain it off, right? So how much do you actually work out? Well, like off camera?
Fitness is my life. So I prefer to work out on camera. I hate filming. I used to go and vlog my workouts. I hate it. Like when I'm in the gym, typically my phone is, I'm listening to music and that's it. And I may snap a photo like, hey, just went to the gym, just did some back and chest or whatever. But I love to just go work out, run, lift weights. And a lot of times I don't even share it. I don't even show it.
Yeah, so I was going to say, so you'd rather do it off camera, which is fun.
Yeah, I have to be in a YouTube shooting mode in order to, and I could be doing these challenges like running a marathon. But 95% of that marathon was off camera. And then we'd flip on the camera as a film for a little bit and then it would be done. So I hate filming my workouts. I just like to work out.
Yeah. Which makes sense because I know it's your job, but I'm pretty sure you're like, I just want to be by myself right now, like work out.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll go to group functional fitness classes, like runs, sometimes run clubs, things like that, just to be around people more often. But typically I'm running by myself or lifting by myself.
Oh, I had a question because I saw your Catalina, your marathon. You did a whole marathon without any training. Mm-hmm. So was there someone running with you? Was there a camera person running with you as well? Because I saw that. I know you had handheld, but then I also saw the camera was like away from you. So I'm like, okay, someone was running with him the whole time then.
No, not the whole time. Since we do everything like live action, there's really hardly ever. I bought a ticket to the Catalina Marathon and I had to fall into their infrastructure. So we messaged the people. We're like, hey, we're bringing a camera crew. Like, can we get permissions? Like we had to purchase a permit and everything. And they're like, of course my camera crew is not cut out to run 25 plus miles with gear. So they're like, well, how do we film you? I'm like, we're just going to show up and make the best out of it. So they filmed me at the start. They hopped in the back of a garbage truck. And the people that were going up, collecting garbage and everything from the pit stops, and they would take a shot of me every once in a while, and they would hang it up. And then my guy texted me when I was running. Of course, I didn't get it because the service sucks out there. And he's like, "Hey, we're just gonna stay at the end. I can't. There's no way for us to get out there." So all these camera people that I'm paying for, they got probably 5 or 10 minutes of the total 6-hour marathon.
God dang.
I was going to say, because I respect your cameraman. He was just right behind you, like...
Just jogging?
Yeah, no. And then we went back the next week and we filmed fill-in shots. Like, this is what I need. I need you to say this here. And then we produce it for
cool.
YouTube.
That's smart. Yeah, because I was like, damn, he's getting a workout with his arms and his legs doing 26 miles. Yeah.
My camera guy, I mean, he's pretty stout, but he's not doing any type of challenges with me stout,
He's not up to par.
Like for the ruck, he was riding the back of truck like this, just filming the whole time.
Oh yeah, 18 miles?
18.6 miles. Yeah.
Damn. Oh, you're like, God damn. And I think that's my favorite part of your channel is all of when you do the obstacle courses. Like, so you did the Navy SEAL, the obstacle course. You also did the Army Rangers one. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get like haters from these branches or ex-military guys? Because you're a Navy, but I know that you're doing like all these other obstacle courses. Do you ever get like people hating on you for that reason? No, they're not. Oh, you're in the Navy, so why are you doing the Green Beret course? No, it usually comes from that community. The most intense criticism I get is from the community that I'm involved with. So like for the Green Beret, I mean, when I went through the SFAS, Special Forces Assessment and Selection, I had a guy that made a whole roast video on YouTube. He's like, fuck this guy. He's not a real Green Beret. He's blah, blah, blah. God. This is not the real SFAS. And like I told
throughout the whole thing, I'm like, this is an SFAS experience. It's meant to simulate. Obviously, I'm not in the Navy. I'm not in the DOD. I don't have an active life insurance policy with the government, so I'm not going through the real SFAS. I say that multiple times. But he was just using my name to get viewership to sell his programs. Like, yeah, I mean, it happens every single video. I'll see a remix or somebody will react to my videos. A lot of them are supportive, but some of them are just like straight roast sessions. It's kind of fun, like, because I've become confident in it, and I'm just laughing at this guy. He's like, I start out in the intro, I'm like, this week I'm going through a Special Forces assessment and selection experience. This is based on the real thing, but this is a lesser version. And then he's watching it, and then he stops it. He's like, this is not the real SFAS. And he continues, and I'm like, this is not the real SFAS. Like, it's just...
Like, just be patient.
Yeah, exactly,
Wait till
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's hilarious, dude. Because, yeah, I can imagine, I mean... people hate no matter what. You can be talking about, you had the cookie one.
Yeah.
About, they were talking about like
idea.
Mexican cookies, and then they're like, no, those aren't Mexican. Or
People are just haters. The internet just internets. It's just like trying to stay away from the comments. Sometimes, I mean, there are a few where you're like, I really want to respond, but he's trying to stay away from that, to be honest. Like,
so how do you deal with that?
I usually, if it's a negative comment that's kind of funny, like, I think I got a comment that said, this guy looks like the off-brand Chris Hemsworth or something like that. And I'm like,
Hey,
I'll comment back like Dollar General version, LOL, or just something like that. Something that reinforces their thoughts. And then in return, they kind of get like, wow, like this guy's reinforcing my thought. I didn't expect that. Like, and they'll go back and be like, hey dude, I was just messing with you. I'm sorry, or something like that. But usually I just don't respond to them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like a lot of times if you do respond with something funny, they're like, haha, LOL, or they just like, they're like, okay, I won.
And a perfect reference is, you guys have seen Eighth Mile, right?
yeah.
Okay, so on the very last rap battle, when the dude's going against this other dude, he comes out, Eminem says, and he talks about all of his flaws that the guy is going to talk about. So when it comes time for him to rap, he can't say anything. He's like, you know, because this guy's like, oh, he already knows his flaws, so like, what am I going to say? Like, I do the same thing, like, in the comments, and it kind of makes people think a different way. Because if you go in there and you're like, man, that's not fair, like, I am handsome and I am blah blah blah, they're just going to fire right back at you. And you're just adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, well, no, the video that he's talking about is that Paulina had said some facts about a certain brand of cookies that are usually associated to like Latino America. And we made a clip out of it, and it went viral. And the comments just started going ham. I mean, of course, you get like a whole bunch of different comments. Some people supporting, some people hating, whatever it is. And some guy just, I forgot what he said. It was like, basically just saying is like, you shouldn't have a podcast if you're like, you guys are just idiots. You guys shouldn't have a podcast or something like that. But you don't even know like the real history of Mexico and all this other stuff. And then. Or the real history of America. I forgot. Honestly, it was so stupid that I honestly forgot what the hell it said. But basically, at one point, Paulina was like, you know what? 1.4 million views deserve some comment back. So we just started commenting back. But we were just being witty with it. And I commented back to this guy, and I was like, yeah, I know the history of Mexico. And I just started like saying the plot of Lord of the Rings. And then he commented something else, and I just started saying the plot of Coco, the Disney movie. And then he finally comments back and he goes, you know what? We need more people like you. And then he adds me on all the socials. I was like, it's like, bro, it's like,
So you kind of just realize like people just comment, to comment.
Internet just internets.
A lot of time people are dealing with something internally, and you just got to understand that, like, hey, this guy's or girl is probably going through something, so they don't really mean what they're saying. Like, that's the way I look at it all the time.
Yeah. So every now and then I'll like comment. I forgot. I sent out another reel like a while back ago, and someone commented, someone with your BMI shouldn't be talking about beauty standards. And I replied, I thought it was funny. And I replied back, and I was like, you should be careful. I ate the last person that commented on my weight.
Yes. Things like that. When people make the effort and spend the energy to try to hurt your feelings, and they see that it doesn't work, they start to rethink what they've said to you. Yeah.
And he DM'd me, and he like apologized. And my other co-host, Estus, I think someone came at him for his weight too. And then he just replied like something sweet. Like he's just such a sweet guy, but he just replied something like, "Okay, thank you," or something like that. And then the guy messaged him the next day. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry." He actually said, "I'm going through a rough time right now. Yeah. I'm sorry for what I said," and I deleted the comments. And I was like, "Dude, like some people just," but like you said, you just never know what the other person is going through.
That's hilarious.
Poor guy.
Yeah, but the weight one to me is still the funniest one.
You know, I think fat comments are funny when they're actually like
Funny.
When they're funny, like it's just like, oh, you're fat. Like I'm like, all right.
Thanks.
Like, hey, my dad calls me that.
My dad calls me worse.
Yeah, exactly.
My niece calls me worse things.
I was gonna ask you, how is it for you? Because I've seen a lot of your Instagram stories and your YouTube videos, and you're pretty open about like mental health and about like you even say how much you sleep in a day. So how is that for you? Like how do you like being such an open book on social media?
Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, I am just a person, just like everybody else. You know, everybody sleeps, everybody eats, everybody, you know, a lot of people go to the gym. Like, I'm pretty open about what I'm doing and what I'm living. Like, if I'm transparent about it, maybe somebody else will see that and feel the need to be transparent with somebody else in their life about it as well. So I don't feel the need to like, I don't even post a morning report every morning. It's maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 times a week, maybe. So I don't feel like, oh, I have to post this morning report or people are going to, whatever. I just do it because I want to do it. And I don't see anything wrong with, you know, posting like, you know, a daily motivation, like a gym selfie or like a video or talking about my sleep.
Yeah, I mean, because you're even open like about like the anxiety attacks and like your mental health and how you're doing and what you did to like overcome that or that you're still going through it. Like, how do you feel about posting that?
I feel people look at me like as a strong figure, like this guy's, you know, motivated. This guy's physically able, and you know, some people will look at me, I think, as a role model, especially for people somebody that's in the military. And I know they struggle with it as well. Like, I know what they're going through. I know what a deployment feels like. I know what it feels like to lose friends. I know what it feels like to even have it, you know, to live through some of these things. And I share it because they see that and they will look at it like it's something that's okay to talk about. Because a lot of people don't talk about it. You know, 2 of my friends took their own life and they didn't talk anything about anxiety or depression. So I talk about it openly and freely because somebody else could potentially see it and help them, you know, help them talk about it to somebody.
Do you think that came from like your time in the service, or like were you pretty open with like your family? Or were you able to have those open conversations with your mom and your dad?
Yeah, I remember when I was 12, I was taking this medication called Accutane. It's for my face, and I just remember feeling terrible. I didn't know it was depression. I just remember feeling bad, and I would talk to my mom about it. I'm like, Mom, I feel like there's a big cloud over me. Like, I just feel sad. I don't know what's wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I was open with them about it. But I think it came from the military, being able to talk about it to like a lot of people and mention that it does happen. And then my whole military career, like, I didn't really experience much anxiety at all until I had like a major life shift, you know? So I've gotten accustomed to sharing about it. And especially like throughout the years, I've always talked to friends about it. Like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, let me do a check-in. Like, I've even saved probably 2 or 3 of my friends' lives by just talking to them and getting the help that they didn't know they needed, but they needed, you know?
Do you feel like you get pushback from your friends, or are your friends pretty open?
No, my friends are pretty open.
I started doing that like a little bit a few years ago. Every now and then sometimes I'll text Andy, I'll text a few of my other friends, especially in the content creating world, because I feel like you put so much pressure on yourself to go viral, and that consumes you. So every now and then, sometimes my circle too, I'll text my friends and like, hey, how you doing? Just doing a homie checkup, wellness check. And sometimes I'm really bad at texting, so they'll reply and I forget to reply. But as long as I see I'm good, bro, or like, and you kind of feel it out for your friends. If they're talking more and they're not really talkative, then okay, I'll continue the conversation.
Yeah.
But I try to do that. But in the beginning, when I first started doing it with my super close friends, a lot of them they're Mexican, so I guess you could go back and say it's kind of like that Mexican machismo type of like, like I'm fine, like I'll just deal with it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of like resistance from them, a lot of pushback, or a lot of like, why are you even asking me? But I just feel like that's so important to check up on everybody and make sure they're doing well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'll FaceTime my friends, and it's not like, hey, I'm just checking in on you. I'll talk to them. I'll gauge their energy. I FaceTime my friends all the time. And by the end of that phone call, we say, all right, love you, dude. So talk to you later.
It's so funny that you say that too, because I feel like I've texted some of my friends. They're like, why? Why are you asking? They're like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing, dude. I'm just trying to see if you're good.
Make sure you're all right.
Try not to make it. I'm not saying you do this, but I'll get texts sometimes. It's very transactional. It's like a monthly thing. Like, hey, dude, just checking in on you, make sure you're good. And I'll call them and I'll just have a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to create an environment where people can come to me and talk to me about things, like if they're struggling or whatnot. And it's honestly a big weight on me, but it makes me feel like I'm doing good by helping out other people.
Yeah. Are you a big caller or do you text?
I'm a caller.
You're a caller?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what that is, because I'm a huge caller. My fiance hates it.
Really?
But I just love calling people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And especially too, like I like ooze happiness sometimes when I'm drunk, and I'll FaceTime my friends. It's like 2 a.m.
You lose happiness when you're drunk?
No, I like ooze happiness.
Oh.
Yeah. I lose happiness. I'm just more that's depression, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It is a downer.
I'm gonna start checking in on you. No, I like ooze happiness when I'm faded, and like I want to talk to my friends. It's like, yo, like I love you, bro. I'm that friend. I'm the I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Friend.
That's good.
Yeah. But
That's good.
yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm just trying to go on this mental health, just because like I feel like it is interesting, especially, I mean, we're all dudes here, but mental health, I feel like in the guy community isn't really talked about. And that's what I like about you, that you did say you're like a big buff guy. You do all these like content creations, you do all these like obstacle courses, but then you like do sit down, you're like, all right, guys, this is what's going on. So I'm like, I can respect that. That's pretty interesting. And I feel like you're right. I feel like it does open up a lot of other guys being like, wow, this guy's talking about it. Why can't I? So that's cool.
Yeah, that's my thought process behind it. Is like, if I've seen my friends talk about it like on social, like Nick Kumlatzos, Nick Bear, and it helped me, come out and be able to share it and be able to talk about it.
Yeah. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I laugh because it's like we did the entrepreneurship, now we're here, and I'm like, damn, dude.
You want to cry?
I feel like crying right now. Can we just cry?
Yeah.
Turn off the cameras for a little bit. I won't cry on camera, but I'll cry off camera.
It's hard for me to cry. I don't really cry.
Are you little spoon or big spoon though?
I'm big spoon.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She laughed over there, so I don't know.
Do I look like a little spoon?
I feel like a lot of the
I feel like all the big guys, all the big buff guys are usually little spoons. Because they sounded weird.
No, it makes me uncomfortable.
Not that I would know.
You like being in control, huh?
I do, yeah.
See, that's why.
I like to assert dominance.
Yeah. I like how he looked at you in the eye when he said that.
He's like,
yeah. I assert dominance.
Well, he said earlier he was going to eat me, so anyways.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but Andy changed shirts because he got peed on right now.
Just asserting the dominance?
Just asserting dominance everywhere.
You didn't change shirts, did you? That was a joke.
No, it was a joke.
Okay.
You're like, whoa, what did I miss?
Yeah, I just...
Just mind blown.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, so you said the Hybricongames are in October? That's going to be fun.
Looking forward to it.
So is it going to be like a big video series, or is it just one big video?
We're working with a documentary crew now. Hopefully that's going to come in and produce a documentary.
Oh, okay.
And if that happens, they'll shop it around to a bigger network.
Oh,
but that's like ultimate case scenario. The second best scenario is there's a company called Vet TV. We may partner with them to come produce a documentary for them to put on Vet TV. So either way, we're going to create a big documentary out of it. Something that people can watch and subscribe and sign up for next year, or just be entertained.
And you're just hosting, or you're also gonna compete in it?
No, I'm the organizer and the hoster and the guy that manages the funds and athletes and basically everything except program the workouts.
Got it. Oh, you don't program the workouts? Like you don't actually schedule? Okay.
I help as far as like our race director Hunter. He's like, yeah, I want to ruck 17 miles with 80 pounds of weight. I'm like, first of all, how are we going to get 8,000 pounds of weight on Catalina Island? That's not going to happen. And 2, we need backpacks for 48 individuals, which is going to cost $10,000. So let's shift away from rucking and let's go for running. Like I'm the facilitator.
So you are a planner.
Well, with the Hybricongames, yes, because we're dealing with people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, if they have an allergy or if they have a certain reaction or if they get bit by a spider and they're, you know,
That's on your dime.
80 miles offshore, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's why I asked you about the health. Like, do you have a medical team because you
Yeah,
did that
yeah.
18 miles? So, but you said you didn't have one with you at that time.
No, that was just me. I don't really care about myself, but I care about others.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll have a we'll have a medical team at the Hybricongames.
Damn. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that part. That it's literally an island. So if anything goes wrong, it's like
Well, they have a hospital there, thank goodness.
okay. I was
Yeah.
like, I've never been there. Have you been to Catalina?
Nah, I don't think so. Maybe when I was like little, but
That's crazy.
I mean, not enough for me. Oh yeah, she does that. She French bulldogs.
Yeah. It's like her in her sleep. She growls.
She growls. she's like, I'm not here. Stop.
Oh man, but do you have anything else to add?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No. I think, dude, you answered even my questions that like I was gonna ask you, and then you just kept going. I was like, cool.
I know what's on your
Like,
brain. I can read your brain.
What?
What are you thinking about right now?
Uh-huh.
You're thinking about should we ask any more questions so we can make some potentially really good shorts to go viral from this guy before he leaves?
Oh no, we got those already.
no, we got
Okay,
those.
Yeah, I got plenty of them.
Yeah, I was like, you were talking. I was like, oh, that's a great clip. Oh, damn, Mario got lucky. That's another good clip.
No, but I wanted to ask you, like, what's next for you? I feel like you say you're not a big planner, but I feel like you got a lot of big plans ahead of you.
What's next for me? I always want to like keep growing and expanding. And now I think it's time to go into growth mode and not, well, maybe expanding mode, but we have a big initiative with Battle Bunker that we're pushing for. We're opening up one-on-one training and coaching, as well as some product and merchandising and some more workout and fitness guided programs. So that's something that we're going to be pushing for with Battle Bunker the rest of the year, as well as filming the Battle Bunker Unbroken series. It's seen a really big increase in long form viewership on the YouTube channel. And then I want to get to a place financially where we're able to sustain a gym without any investment dollars and potentially build a gym out sometime Q2 next year.
Nice.
That's what I want to do with Battle Bunker. Yeah.
That's what you will do with Battle Bunker.
That's what I will do with Battle Bunker.
I'm just saying, just a little idea. If you ever wanted to get like some bigger guys in shape, we'll volunteer.
Okay.
I feel like the only reason I say that, okay, I'm being honest now. The only reason I say that is because I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, especially the bigger people, trying to get into shape and of how hard it is mentally.
Mentally, it's tough. Yeah.
Mentally. So that's why I'm like, I feel like that would be cool just for you to help.
Actually, the people that do not have a fitness regimen are my favorite people, absolutely favorite people to coach. Because just like how you maybe fell out of it slowly, you didn't just all drop it all at one time. So I wouldn't all drop a program on you one time. I wouldn't say, okay, you're eating 2,500 calories, you're walking 10 minutes in the sun every day, you're doing 30 minutes of cardio, you're doing a 45-minute workout. Like, we start with the very, very basics. Like, if you came to me and said, hey, I need help, I want to get started with my fitness journey, I would say, okay, I want you to wake up at the same time every single morning, wake up at 7 a.m. for the first week, and I want you to drink 16 ounces of water. That's all I want you to do. You can do whatever else you want. You can drink, you can go eat pizza, whatever. Just do those two things for me. And you make a commitment to me of two small variables, and I'll hold you accountable. And after the first week, how'd you do? I woke up at 7 every morning. I drank 16 ounces of water. Okay, cool. Keep that. Now, after that 16 ounces of water, I want you to go for a 10-minute walk outside. And you say, okay, cool. And if you execute that, we'll maybe give you a breather for a week. So after 3 weeks, you've attached 3 really good habits to your schedule. And then from there, you slowly build up. Okay, instead of 10 minutes, now it's a 15-minute walk. And now towards the afternoon, you have a 30-minute calisthenics session or a 30-minute just going into the gym and just hanging out, whatever. We start to add those very, very slow variables in your schedule. Before long, you've built up a bulletproof schedule where you're waking up at 7 a.m., you're drinking 16 ounces of water, getting your metabolism started, you're going outside in the sun for 10 minutes, you're starting to feel great, you've dropped a few pounds just from the increase in water and the increase in activity, and now we can start adding some dieting and some working out in there. That's what I like the most is taking people who are on no regimen and setting them straight. Like my editors have access to me because we'll be talking about a project. Oh, by the way, hey, I started eating steak this week. Like, how is it? Like, they have, the access to me because I talk to them every week. And one of my editors, Trooper, he came to me. He said, "Hey, dude, my sleep schedule's out of whack, and I just feel like shit. And I've gained weight from editing, and I need some help." And I said, "Okay, I want you to wake up, text me every morning at 8 a.m. He wakes up at 9, which is okay. Like, as long as you're waking at the same time every morning. He wakes up at 9. He texts me. It's 8 a.m. here, and he goes for a 10-minute walk. I said, just do those 2 things for me the first 2 weeks. Okay, now I've got him on eating 2,000 calories a day. It's been 4 weeks. He's down 12 pounds just by eating consistently and waking up consistently. He has not touched a weight. He has not done any working out. He's already down 12 pounds. Like, so that's, I know that was long-winded, but I'm passionate about people who want to get into their fitness journey.
And it's funny because I think about myself. Like, when I begin, I feel like I try to do it too hard. Yeah. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm going to have one meal a day. Yep. Yeah, I'm going to run 2 miles or whatever, a mile. And then by the week, you're like, you know what, I'm done with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe we should do this. All right, I'm going to start waking up early. Already wake up
10 minutes. Yeah. You're going to go for a walk right now.
So what time do you wake up every day?
Well, I wake up at like 4 because I have to be at work at 6 in the morning.
Okay. So every morning you wake up at 4?
Yeah.
You never snooze? 4:30 now. Yeah. Is it ever 4:35, 4:40?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you just made a commitment, I'm going to wake up at 4:30. Wake up at 4:30 every single morning. Your morning's already off to like such a better start. Like, and now I've gotten to the point where I don't wake up at a certain time, but I wake up within a window of like 7 to 9 maybe. If I want to sleep a little more, I sleep a little more. But I wake up, I drink 16 ounces of water, I go outside. So I would say if the first thing is start waking up at 4:30. Second thing is drink 16 ounces of water. It's called, I get this process from a book called Atomic Habits. Have you ever read it? Mm-mm. You should read it. Tell him to read it.
Yeah, I have it upstairs. I'll give it to you.
You read it too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm gonna go start working
on
it. Damn. Okay. Anyways, next subject.
Yeah. No, I was like, well, I don't know. I feel like it's funny because I use your videos before a run because I'm like, I need some inspiration. I need to see people. Like, that's why I put on like John Wick. I put on Top Gun movie. Like, I'm like, I need some sort of inspiration on TV to be like, all right, let's go for a run now. Like, I don't know what you do. Like, do you just get up?
You better say you watch my videos too.
All the time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've been listening to you for like the past like 3 weeks solid now.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, you know what? As far as like getting up, like my schedule is pretty inconsistent in the morning because I clean carpet, so like it depends on what part of San Diego that I have to go to. That's dependent on the time I have to get up. Mm-hmm. But I do very rarely snooze because I know myself. And if I snooze, I know I'm not getting my ass up. So as soon as my alarm hits, sometimes it doesn't even ring more than twice. Mm-hmm. I'm up. That's one thing. But my problem is in the afternoon. I just feel like I always have so much other stuff to do, whether it's answering clients. I'm going to be completely honest. I should time block. I just don't.
Have you ever tried time blocking?
I tried it and then I gave up like 2 seconds later.
Time blocking.
He just looked at me like this.
Well, I don't do it every single morning, but some mornings if I have a lot of shit to do, I will time block. You have to.
Yeah. I keep telling myself I need to get into that habit. Mm-hmm. Because then it gets to the point where I get anxiety because of so much stuff that I have to do. And it's like my ADHD brain just and like I have so much stuff to do that I don't do anything. And I just kind of wither away.
Have you heard of the 30% rule?
I want to say yeah, but I'm going to say no right now.
Okay, so I heard this from Elon Musk. Like, he's like, some days I wake up and I have so much to do that sometimes it's hard to focus on getting it all done. Mm-hmm. If you take your top 3 most important things you have to do, like above everything, you focus on those. And usually when I do that, I'm getting the 3 things done in an hour. And then after that, everything else is supplementary. Like, okay, what are my other 3? Okay, bam, bam, bam. What are my... it helps a ton. Yeah.
I think that for me and for my struggles is the beginning of the week because that's when I get the final edit of the podcast. So I'm in review mode, edit mode, but at the same time, like I want to go work out or I want to go do something else. Mm-hmm. Or there's just other things that are just pressing whether if it's like clients, the business, or, you know, we talked about earlier, now we were revamping the merch for Vivica and Huevos. So like there's just so much other stuff on the back burner that I just, you know, like I said, I feel like I have so much to do that I just don't do anything. And now I do want to get back into that habit. I do know what you're talking about now. I have read it. I have seen it before. Where I need to prioritize. All right, my editing's done. I did my review. Pick the reels. What's next? Those are my top 3 priorities on Monday. Tuesday, I pump out the reels and I do the captions and I do the edits. So I'm trying to get into that habit a little bit more, because I found myself like Thursday just picking a reel that I need to like upload in an hour, and I'm just stressing out about this damn reel. And of course, then I'm like editing on a computer that's like 15 years old at this point now. And it's like everything's slow as hell. My captions aren't working. Nothing's uploading. Nothing's downloading. So I'm just frustrating myself over nothing really. So, but yeah.
I don't know, but
Therapy
I'm inspired.
session.
Yeah, I was like,
we're going to go on a 10-minute walk right now, guys. Be right back.
no, it's funny because you said we're going to have a therapy session. I love your quote. The men don't go to therapy. We start podcasts.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's true.
Yeah. That's why there's so many podcasts out there.
I've heard that somewhere before.
It's probably on my channel.
Probably
It's,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was most likely.
Maybe I was watching. I didn't
We
know.
are the #1 podcast in San Diego.
In San
Latino
Diego.
podcast in
Nice,
San Diego.
nice.
Latino. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, is there?
But anyways, Austin, before we start winding down, per usual, I always ask the guests this. Did you prep them?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I told him.
Yeah, I usually ask the guests with this question.
I didn't read that email. Or it was a
Per
text.
my last
He's like, wait,
email.
what?
My time's over.
He's like, all right, guys, see you later.
If you could go back and give yourself a piece of advice, at what age would you go back to, and what would you say?
Probably 18. I'd say start earlier. Start believing in yourself more. Start coming out of your shell. Start talking to people. Start networking. Believe in yourself a little more. Be about 18.
Interesting. 18.
18. Yeah.
Because that's when I really start to kind of like get out of my box and really understand things like pain. My family's, my parents started going through a divorce when I was like 18. I was like, man, this is real. I've only ever seen a real family together, you know, with like a strong love. And when I saw my parents start to fall apart, I was like, man, this is really, you know, just your life, and things can happen. You just got to be prepared for it and just realize that like the worst things can happen. And part of learning and growing is becoming calloused to emotional pain and not letting it control you or like throwing you off the rails too bad. And wow, this really got deep really fast. I'm sorry, y'all. But
Hey,
yeah,
this is the end of it.
that would be my advice. It's like, hey, prepare yourself, come out of your shell, start living more. 18.
Wouldn't you don't have to answer we can cut this out. But when your parents are going through that divorce here, that 18, that's a pretty, significant age. You know,
Yeah. You're
going through a lot. You know, graduating high school, you're basically given your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
How did you climb out of such a dark space?
By shifting focus. That's when I started to, and this went on for like a year and a half, 2 years. We won't go and get into it, but it was a prolonged process. It wasn't just like snap and done. I started to just focus more on myself. And that's when I started training and running, and I was starting to do a lot of CrossFit and swimming. And then that's when I dipped in for the Navy when I was 19. And I just started staying out of the house as long as I could. I would leave. I would go to work, cutting grass. I would take a shower at the gym. I would either eat and then go for another swim or a run or another workout, and then take another shower and then go eat and hang out with friends. And then I was at home by like 9 or 10. So just shifting focus and trying to stay busy. That's how I got through it.
Yeah. What made you? I know I said we were winding down, but because I do remember you said that, and one of the pods that you were on, that you went to the recruiting office, but you didn't go the first time for you, right? You went.
No.
It was for a friend.
For a buddy of mine. He's like, hey, come to the recruiting office with me. I'm going to join the Navy. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not joining the Navy. I'm not joining the military. He's like, no, you can just come hang out. We'll go get something to eat or something afterwards. I said, all right. Walking to the recruiting office. Dude didn't say anything to me. And then when I was walking out, he said, hey, you want to join the Navy? I said, nope. He said, okay, well, take this pamphlet. And I was like, all right. snatch it, didn't even look at it. Waited till I got home and I opened it. It was a Navy SEAL pamphlet. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I started Googling what is a Navy SEAL. Like I had no clue about anything military really. And that's when I was like, you know what? My world is shifting underneath me and I like to be in control. And joining the Navy was me being in control of what I was doing.
Did you have plans to go to college?
Yeah, I dropped out.
Yeah. Wait. We talked about that earlier, but what was your focus in college?
It was electrical technology. Okay. I used to want to wire sound systems and alarms in cars, and I was good at it. You know, I would do it on the weekends, and that's another part of my entrepreneurial spirit that I didn't mention. I would install car stereos for people for like $30, $50, $100 on the weekends when I was 18, 19. I was also so I had 3 jobs working, just trying to stay busy because of the divorce.
Yeah.
You know, I worked full time for the city of Florence Parks and Rec department cutting grass. After that, I would work 2 or 3 times a week at a girl I was dating. Her dad owned a restaurant called Stefano's. I would go work there, and then on the weekend I would install car audio.
Wow. Talk about busy work.
Yeah, legit.
You were probably making bank though. Like 18, 19?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, and I was also buying and selling car speakers too. So I was all right. Yeah.
Definitely paid your mom back for the.
I'd saved up so much. I quit my full-time job and just worked part-time doing stereos and everything until I left for the Navy.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there's something you didn't mention. I mean, we've talked about so much, but you didn't get into the Navy SEAL program role, right? Or you?
I went to MEPS and they said
Yeah.
my eyesight was too bad.
Yeah.
So I went Navy diver.
And that's something I was like, I knew I wanted to ask this for a reason, because that was another Vive con Huevos moment too, where you were afraid of the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
That you're like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna grab the bull by its horns and become a diver. Like that was wild.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny because I was like, I'm gonna face my fear of the open ocean without even getting in the open ocean. I'm just gonna say yes and sign up for this program.
That's so crazy. It's just thinking about that, because I hate the open ocean. Yeah. I hate, like, kind of like you, like I hate not knowing what's around me or what can pop up. As even like in the shallows, like when we go to the beach here, like just even feeling the seaweed, like I just want to like kind of punch the seaweed because like don't touch me, bitch.
Wait, so I know you didn't, because you didn't go through the whole diver school, right?
I went through pre-dive school.
Okay, but did you face your fears of going to the ocean?
Not in the Navy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was 2021. I would go for swims in the river and the ocean all the time, but I would always be stuck with that fear, like, fuck, I'm about to drown. In 2021, I signed up for a challenge called the Navy SEAL Swim. It was 4 miles in the Hudson Bay, open ocean, swift currents. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to shut my brain off and I'm just going to swim. I jumped in. The first mile felt like I was drowning. My heart rate had to be like 170 the whole time. Not from physically swimming, just from me feeling like, you look around, you don't see anything. The water's 100+ feet deep. It's murky. Nobody's around you. There's nobody to save you. It's just kind of like, all right, I'm either going to swim or I'm going to die. And I forced myself to swim 4 miles in the Hudson Bay. The last 2 miles was fun. but the first 2 miles
right now.
The first 2 miles really sucked.
See, I can't even fathom that right now. I just hate open water. Not being able to see anything like under you, around you, and then you said there's no one there to save you. I can't.
Yeah,
it's giving me anxiety just thinking about it.
Well, but they were
they're
also
not gonna swim.
They were also swimmers too. I mean, what are they gonna do? Get me out of the water? No.
Like, bye.
Both drowning
we'll
together.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, Austen, I do want to start wrapping things around because I don't want to take too much time out of your hands. I do want to thank you again for dropping by, for answering the DMs too. It's been a pleasure talking to you, getting to know your story a little bit more. I mean, you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
I hope to be as fit as you one day.
Yeah,
I will be as fit as you.
Exactly.
I will be as fit as you one day.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will be coming into people's houses and peeing on their lawns. Asserting dominance. But before we do end things, is there anywhere I want to leave where people can find you, learn more about you, your story, and YouTube channels, all the good stuff?
Probably the best one is Instagram.
Okay.
That's where I'm the most active pretty much every day.
Do you handle all your socials?
I handle my Instagram and my YouTube.
Okay.
There's
Sense.
There's a team that runs the Facebook and the Snapchat.
Well, it's a lot to handle.
I bet. So yeah, well, yeah. Thank you very much, Austen. Thank you. Viva con Huevos for letting me be a guest host. This was like, and then thank you, Austen, for coming. And this is lots of fun. And I'm gonna start working out now again.
We're not gonna clean up. We're just gonna go for a walk right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna
30-minute walk.
Yeah. We're probably gonna go eat, aren't we?
After you walk.
We're gonna walk to In and Out.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, guys.
Yeah, no, Austen, honestly, it's been a pleasure, my man. I really do appreciate your time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And guys, como siempre, live your best life, fight your fears. At the end of the day, the only thing that you regret are the things that you did not do. So vive con huevos, guys. We out of here. We love you. Peace.